Good morning, everyone. This is Kasha coming to you live on Tuesday. It's a beautiful day here in Kelowna, BC. And as always, I'm just going to share this with my community because I've got a really topic that I'm really passionate about today that I want to talk about because I see this crop up in so many ways, like in so many different places, and it's one of these topics that I can just get really feisty about. So there we go. But first, as always, let's pick a card. This is from my self-reflection deck that was created using my art, and I love it. Adventure. Feel the exhilaration of the road ahead. It's okay and exciting to not know. And a little scary sometimes. So there you go. Okay. So whether you're watching live or the replay, and let me just get untangled here. If you're new to me, I'd love to take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Kasha Rashfal, and I am a life and business intuitive healer and mindset coach, and also an intuitive artist. And my passion is to help spiritual women entrepreneurs to deal with the emotional side of business. Okay, business is about knowing what to do, doing it, and then dealing with yourself as you're doing it. Because shit will hit the fan, like stuff will come up. Your emotions will go crazy on you sometimes. I don't care who you are, how long you've been in business, this will happen. And especially if you're new or in your first couple years, it is such a steep learning curve. Like it is the best personal development program you could ever enroll in is to be an entrepreneur. It's fun. Sometimes it sucks. You got to do the work, but there's strategies you can use to help yourself along the way. And so my passion is helping support the emotional side of business because you could have all the strategies in the world, but if you don't know how to deal with your own stuff as it comes up, none of that is going to work very well, or you're going to be exhausted and you're going to burn out. You know, like who hasn't been there and done that, right? I definitely have. And what I see often from coaches, from experts, all this stuff, I've probably said it before too, and just is this whole idea of stretching your comfort zone or getting uncomfortable, all that stuff. There's a different ways you can approach this hitting ceilings, right? When you start out your business and all of a sudden you start gaining traction and you start seeing success and experiencing success, whether it's more clients, whether it's more visibility, people coming to you with opportunities and requests, perhaps to be on their blogs, to be on their podcasts, all those things. It's exciting, right? It's exciting. But then you hit a wall or you hit a ceiling because you realize, well, this has never happened to me before. Yes, I've dreamed about it. Yes, I've fantasized about what it's going to be like to be successful, but I've never actually hit this level of success. And this happens to new entrepreneurs. I'm sure this happens to people who have been in business 50 years. It definitely happens to people who have been in business a few years and have experienced a few things, a few successes under their belt. It's just you hit this ceiling because you've never been beyond it. And in those moments, you have choices, right? Of course, you always have the choice to push through or to do it in a way that makes you feel safe because you're already uncomfortable. Like you're already freaking out probably because you're experiencing success to this level that you've never experienced before. And if you're someone who's afraid of success, you know, no shame in that. It happens, right? I know I've hit those walls where all of a sudden I'm feeling like, oh my goodness, this is like, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Like I'm on this train, and you freak out because of either whatever you've experienced in the past, your limiting beliefs, like all this stuff that lives inside us. It comes through as emotion. Thanks so much for the thumbs up. If you're on and feeling brave, say hi. And if you're watching the replay and you have questions about anything, we're talking about how to not push through resistance, but how to do it in a way that makes you feel safe. So you hit a wall or a ceiling, whatever you want to call it. It's your choice to stay there or to get through it. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. But you can choose to do it in a way that makes you feel good, or you can choose to do it in a way where you add to your own overwhelm and you add to your own freak out. And in that moment, it takes longer. So, yes, anyway, I'm, again, like I said, I can get really feisty about this topic because the type of person that I am, it does not work for me to blast out of my comfort zone and go after things in a balls to the walls way. It just does not work for me. I freak out even more. I get paralyzed and then I don't do anything. Whether that's me right now or if that's just my personality, if that's how I do things, I know this about myself and I'm okay with it. I'm more okay going slowly than I am blasting forward to the point where I get burnt out, super overwhelmed, and then I stop doing everything, because that's like this feast or famine journey to success. And I don't like that. I like taking it at a pace that, not necessarily turtle pace, and I realize that it's not always going to stay at an even pace, but at a pace where I can feel safe inside myself that I am on the right track. That's what works for me. And I know I'm not the only one. I've had clients totally agree with me. People totally agree with me. I've had people totally disagree with me. You know, there's the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world who believe that you should just hustle all the time. And that works for him. And that works for people like him. But it doesn't work for all of us. And that's okay. So when you find yourself in that place of you've hit this ceiling, you're succeeding at a point where you haven't succeeded before, you've hit the ceiling, what do you do in that moment? If you're not the type of person who can just blast through or who will push through based on sheer will alone and know that you will get to the other side, what do you do? How do you feel safe in moving through this instead of trying to push through and then staying stuck? Because the worst thing that can happen is when you hit a ceiling, not knowing what to do, and you stay stuck under that ceiling, and then that really sucks. So the biggest piece of advice, the biggest tip is imagine this scenario. Okay, so a little bit of an explanation to give you this tip. Let's say your friend comes to you, or if you're a parent, let's say a child comes to you, and they're super excited because they've got this big event coming up. Big, like let's say if it's your kid and they have a big track and field event and they're really good at it, this is their gift, but they're really freaking out because this is the biggest event they've been at ever to date, right? You believe in them, they believe in themselves, you know they've got this, but they've got shit coming up. Their emotions are coming up. What would you tell them? Would you tell them, oh, suck it up and just push through it? Or would you give them a hug? Would you say some kind words, hold a space for them to feel their crap? I would hope, I would hope that you would hold a space for them and that you would have compassion for whatever they're feeling and create that feeling of safety for them when they can't feel safe inside themselves, feeling all their stuff. Because you know that by doing that, by loving them more, not less, that negative emotion, whatever it is they're feeling, will dissolve much faster, right? Love vibrates very high and it will transmute whatever is standing in its way, as long as it's authentic. So, right? Why wouldn't you do that to yourself? Why would you not give yourself that courtesy? And this is what I found works best for us who don't just barrel through things very easily. We need to feel safe inside ourselves. And the best way to do that is to notice what you're feeling in that moment and acknowledge it and give yourself the courtesy and the compassion to feel it without indulging it. Give yourself just massive compassion, massive love in that moment to acknowledge, I'm feeling really scared right now. I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. I don't even actually want to do this anymore, right? Sometimes even that comes up. I know I've had that happen where, I've gained so much traction in my work or whatever else I'm doing where you just it freaks you out and you think, wow, maybe this isn't for me. It's not that it's not for you. It's that your ceiling, your limitations, everything is coming up here right now in that moment for you to notice and to deal with. The best way to deal with it is to love it, to acknowledge it, not indulge it, not ruminate with it, not do all of that, but just notice it and sit with it for a bit. I guarantee you it will go faster. You will get through the ceiling much faster when you can just sit with that stuff in a loving, compassionate space, not judging yourself, not getting angry or upset with yourself or frustrated, just simply sitting with that emotion. It's a skill that you can practice. It will take time to implement this. It will take time to get good at this. If you've never done it this way before, it will take you some practice. So just be patient with yourself. Don't get mad at yourself and tell yourself, well, it's better to just push through. Trust me, when you try to push through your resistance, when you try to push through anything that you feel bad about, that emotion will unpack its bags and will stay longer. Because whatever you put your attention on expands. And if you can put your attention to love, hi Jennifer. Hey, good to see you. Thanks so much for hopping on. If you can hold your emotion from a place of love for yourself, then you're not resisting it. Then you're loving it. And then it feels safe and it trusts you and your heart trusts you and your intuition trusts you more. And then you can just let it go. Trust me, it happens so much faster. So when you're in a place of hitting a ceiling in your work, in your business, in your life, I mean, this is applicable to even relationships, families, anything. When you find yourself hitting a new place of success, somewhere you've never been before, something you've never experienced before, you're going to hit stuff, like your emotions will come up. So knowing how to handle them will help you get through that resistance a lot faster and blast through that bloody ceiling a lot faster than if you sit in the resistance of it and ruminate on it and give yourself a hard time. So the biggest tip I can give you is create a space of safety for yourself. It doesn't matter how fast you do this. What matters is how you feel while you do it. If you're someone like the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world, he probably feels really safe blasting through obstacles because that's who he is, that's his personality, and he's probably cultivated this skill inside himself. So it happens very quickly for him, and that's why that's the advice he gives, just do it, just get through it. If that doesn't work for you though, to do it to that degree, figure out what makes you feel safe. How do you want to feel? Like if you had this problem and you went to your best friend or your coach or your healer, what would you want them to give to you? Would you want them to just tell you to get over it? Or would you want them to hold a non-judgmental, safe space for you to deal with this stupid crap, right? Deal with these emotions. It's your choice. You get to choose how you want to deal with it. But I can guarantee that if you cultivate that feeling of safety inside yourself, the compassion for yourself, you will get through this shit a lot faster. And you will stop. I know I'm using a lot of bad words to refer to emotions that we feel. None of them are bad. And I probably shouldn't even be using words like that to describe our negative emotions. Our negative emotions are not bad. They're simply there to point our attention to where we need more compassion from ourselves, especially where we need more love, where we need more safety inside ourselves so that we can get through feeling those negative emotions a lot faster, a lot quicker. I hope that makes sense. If you're watching live, send me some thumbs up, some hearts if this is resonating. If you've ever experienced this, how did you get through it? Did you find that just pushing through worked better for you? Or did you find that sort of sitting back and being more compassionate and more loving towards yourself worked better for you? I'm only sharing the strategy that works for me because I know that there's other people like me who don't like to just push through obstacles as fast as possible, because that makes us just not feel safe. It makes us freak out even more. If you have questions, if you're watching the replay, please post them. I will pop back later to see if anyone had a question. I will be happy to answer it. I'd be happy to talk more about this. Like I said in the beginning, it's a topic that I'm so passionate about, because I'm so tired of seeing, especially women entrepreneurs who are giving it their all, and they find themselves in a place of success, and then they freak out about it and they don't know what to do, and then they stop. So Jennifer says, it's amazing that I came on when you're speaking about this. I'm having a difficult time at work with people who put up so many obstacles. Yeah, exactly. So even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not in business for self, you might be dealing with this at work. And it's common, especially when we're working with other people, because then there's so many different personalities that come together. And you not only have to get your work done effectively, efficiently, profitably, but you also got to deal with all these other people who, not everybody has the same skills of communication or compassion and all that stuff. So whenever you're feeling stuff that's coming up for you, create that safe space for yourself. I firmly believe, and this is something that I never used to believe, but I do now because of my own experiences and healings, that everything happens for us. And trust me, that used to piss me off when I read that in books, or I heard that from coaches. Well, this is happening for you. You just got to find the lesson, blah, blah, blah. It pissed me off because I didn't know how to deal with my own emotions that were coming up as a result of all these wonderful things, supposedly wonderful things that the universe was sending my way that were happening for me. It really felt like all this stuff was happening to me. And I didn't like that. But having delved into myself, having practiced this practice of self-compassion, self-love, it got me to a place, and clients too, like this is the very first thing we work on is healing these old stories, these old beliefs that bring up these emotions in the first place, old hurts and traumas and dramas. Because when those are healed and you can get to a place of lesson, like you accept the lesson from it, then it doesn't feel like it's happening to you anymore. It doesn't feel like the world is against you. You can then choose to see how it is happening for you, and you can be in a place of more love for yourself so that you can get through that stuff faster, no matter what comes up. No matter what comes up. We have these old stories in us, whether it's from crap that happened in our childhood, in our teenagehood, when we were young adults. Stuff happens all the time. If we don't know how to process those emotions, they get stuck and we go in circles. And then when we want success and we're so close, or we're experiencing it, all this stuff comes up because we can't take it with us, right? We cannot be the people who experience amazing success and live the lives that we want with the crap that we haven't healed in ourselves. It doesn't work that way. We have to become whole, not become whole. We have to remember that we are already whole, and that happens through healing. That happens through self-compassion. That happens through self-love, loving yourself more, not less, especially when you're having a hard time. Even if that hard time is created by something amazing, like growing your business to a level that is so amazing, right? That's beyond what you thought you could do before. So stress is something that comes through good things, through bad, things we consider bad. It doesn't matter where it comes from. The way you deal with it is very much the same. You love yourself more. You give yourself compassion. You create that safe space for yourself inside you, right? Just like you would for your best friend, just like you would for a child if you're a parent and your child comes to you hurting, right? You're not going to tell them to push through it. You're going to hold a safe space for them. So have that courtesy. Do that for yourself. Is this resonating? Is this making sense? Please send me some hearts, some thumbs up if this is making sense to you. Do you have any questions for those of you who are on live? I would love to answer questions for you or tune into something for you if you're having a specific situation around this. And oh, awesome. Thank you so much for the hearts. If not, I will leave it here because this is something I could talk about forever, because I think if you have a really healthy emotional relationship with yourself, especially if you're a business owner, you're golden, right? You can handle anything. Okay, so Machi says, I've dedicated 2017 to practicing this as much as possible. And of course, life is bringing up all the stuff from my past because of this. I guess there's no getting around it now. Nope. That's the key. So that's awesome. That's actually a really good sign, Machi, because it means that your unconscious mind trusts you. It trusts you because now you're like, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm no longer going to be mad at myself. I'm no longer going to be pushing this stuff back down. I'm no longer going to be resisting it, trying to just get rid of it. I am willing to love it. And that's what your heart wants. That's what your unconscious mind wants. That's what your soul wants. It wants you to love yourself and all your crap as much as it loves you. So I'm so happy for you because that's fabulous. And you might find that if you have a backlog of old stories, they're going to come out. So just get ready, be happy about it, and eventually they'll stop because then you will have dealt with them all. One caveat is don't get addicted to looking for things inside yourself that are wrong, that you want to love more, because at one point you'll just be okay and there's not going to be any more. So, and Jennifer says, how do I bring it up and hold the space in the moment of action? So Jennifer, that's a really great question. I've got a couple tools for that. One of them on my website is called the Shitty Day Emergency Kit, where I go through the steps that teach you exactly that, what to do in the moment. And I can post the link to that in the video after I'm done here. Or I wonder if I can do it now. I don't know. I don't want to mess this up. But basically, in a nutshell, what you would do is when that emotion is coming up, and in the beginning, what I suggest is if you can remove yourself from that situation, if at all possible, like go to the bathroom, let's say if you're at work. That way you can have a private moment with yourself to do this. If not, then I'll just explain the process to you and you can do it the best you can in that place where you're at. Basically, when you feel an emotion come up, you want to name it. Because then it becomes something that you're experiencing. It takes it outside of you as opposed to feeling like it's part of who you are, right? You're not your anger, you're not your frustration. You're simply experiencing anger or frustration or whatever. So you name it. Name it whatever makes sense to you. It doesn't have to be like an official label. Just name it whatever makes sense to you. Give it your own label. And then ask yourself what that emotion needs. Give that emotion what it needs. It's usually acceptance, love, or acknowledgement. And then step into a place of gratitude for what came up for you. So again, that's a very quick explanation. I will post the link for you for that Shitty Day Emergency Kit, which dives a lot deeper into how to do this process. The process actually takes longer to explain than to actually do it. Once you know how to do it, it goes very quickly. And what you'll find is that the more you do it, the more your emotions trust you, and the less you'll feel certain triggers. Like some triggers are just there. They're not attached to any old stories. Those ones are really easy to unplug and just process out of your body. Sometimes though, you'll find that certain triggers that keep coming up over and over, no matter what you do, are attached to to an old story. You need to heal it at a deeper level. And then, you can ask for help, whether you have someone you work with, a counselor, or that's what I love to do is help women heal their old stories. I work with the Akashic Records to get the information that you need to have the perspective shift, to understand why that's happening in your life, why you're struggling with certain things. And then we ask for the healing at the soul level so that that old story and those emotional triggers can be healed by the divine so that you no longer have them. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you for your questions and your comments. I love these interactions. Machi has another one. For me at this point, it feels hard to imagine that there might actually be an end to all the junk from the past. But logically it makes sense since the past doesn't stretch on forever. Exactly. I can't see the rest of your comment here. And I can hope that I've been building a better past after the last few years since I've known. Yeah, exactly. It's all a matter of shifting perspective, and it does end. It absolutely does end. I can tell you I've been on this journey for like 14 and a half years, 15 years, consciously now. And Jennifer, you're very welcome. My pleasure. And sometimes it felt quite hard. God, I can't even, sometimes it felt like I was sludging through tar pits. It was hard, but the more I learned, the more I was courageous to implement this, right? Because for the longest time, I knew what to do, but I didn't do it. When I started doing the work, when I decided to feel that even though I didn't feel worthy, I decided to just do this work just to see what would happen. That's when stuff really changed really, really fast. So even though I've been on this journey for the last 14 and a half years, it's really the last 2.5 years that I've implemented this stuff that has, it feels like a rocket ship. It's been so much faster. So if you do this, if you put this into practice, you might have tough moments, but you'll get there. Okay. You will absolutely get there, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to prove anything. You can ask for help, and we're here for you, right? Whether it's me you choose to work with or whoever else resonates with you, it's totally okay to ask for help. Jennifer says, that's it. I totally don't feel worthy. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, I hear you. I feel you. That was me. I remember what it's like to not feel worthy, where you just, it's like, it feels like nothing matters. Nothing you do matters. It feels like, even if you do the work, nothing will change. And that's it's like such a backwards belief, because I'll challenge you, Jennifer, to do an experiment, okay, for 30 days. I'm sure you've read books. I'm sure you've taken possibly classes. I don't know if you've ever worked with a coach, but you might have even listened to Abraham Hicks videos, or whoever you follow that you resonate with, whose teachings make sense to you. I challenge you for 30 days, just for shits and giggles, to implement what you know. So it could be what I shared with you today. And I will post the link to that Shitty Day Emergency Kit. So you can learn that system. Just have that space of compassion for yourself. If all you do for 30 days is just practice that without fail, I guarantee you things will shift for you. And you might not feel fully worthy in 30 days, but you will see a shift, and you will one day, if you keep doing it, one day you'll just wake up and realize, what the hell was I worried about? Of course I'm worthy. You will just remember. Because by implementing what all these teachers, including myself, are sharing, is you'll start to peel the onion, and eventually you will take off enough layers of crap, of old stories, that you will remember. You will remember that you're whole. You will remember that you're loved. You will remember. Because that's what happened to me, and that's the only reason I can say this with conviction is I wouldn't believe it if it hadn't happened to me, because I thought it was a bunch of crap. I thought I was the only human being on earth that this didn't apply to. Like, universal law did not apply to me. I thought I was that special. Now I can laugh about it because I realized I'm ordinary just like everyone else. I'm worthy just like everyone else. And I remembered that. So I hope that makes sense. Check in with me in a while. Send me a message or something and let me know how that's working for you. Because I guarantee you, if you just give yourself the benefit of the doubt, and even if you don't believe it's possible for you, just give it your all for 30 days at least. Experiment and see what happens. That's what I did because I didn't know what else to do. Like, I had tried everything else, and finally I realized I'm not doing the work. I'm not doing the work. So if I actually do the work, let's see what happens, right? I'm on it. It has to happen. I have to move onward and upward. I'll take the challenge. Yes. Awesome. Good. Well, check back in with me and let me know how that works for you. And yeah, if you need any more help, I'm here. So thanks so much. I love you guys. And I should end it because it's been a long video. So have an amazing day. And tomorrow my video is going to be, I'm going to be tuning in to questions, so I probably will do it around the same time, 9 a.m.-ish Pacific. And hop on. If you have a question for me, ask. I will tune into answers for you. And yeah, have an amazing day. Talk soon.